Roger Martin here for Billings, Montana. Good day. Um, Alex Jones says tomorrow night, Wednesday, Trump will declare a national emergency. He will be preluded on Tuesday night to address at 9 p.m. Eastern, and it will be followed up Wednesday night by the Speaker of House and an ambassador coming in from the Oval Office. And it will be covered fully by the news Tuesday and Wednesday nights. We'll see.
We have an absolute crisis and of criminals and gang members coming through. It is national security. It's a national emergency. We'll be letting you know fairly soon.
I'm in the break room, and I see the president say, because this country's in an emergency. Well, I know that's the action he's got to take. I know he's been mulling it. We first told you this over a year ago, another global exclusive. And you watch, and sometimes he changes plans, but 95% chance tomorrow Trump will declare a national emergency. So this is happening. And I did a special report on Saturday saying the president is preparing a national emergency. He is preparing to introduce a national emergency to the public. And then if the globalists try to block securing it and activate their Antifa or other terror groups, there's the Mike Adams article we were talking about from a few months ago. The president is set to deal with that. So Trump set to declare national emergency to stop the deep state January 4th. January 5th article, President Trump is preparing the public for the introduction of national emergency. Exclusive. From sources I have in the Pentagon, from sources we have close to the White House, and from our own research and understanding U.S. law and history. You have all noticed in the last year that I've said Trump must declare a national emergency to cancel the national emergency that Obama put in before he left office in December of 2016 when they knew Trump was coming in and was president-elect. Not just for border security or integrity of CONUS, but also so that he can then use those emergency powers to remove the bureaucrats and policies that have been put in place that circumvent his administration and his executive power. Infowars.com, newswars.com, but also Mike Adams of naturalnews.com have been hammering this narrative in the last year because this is what must be done. And we're in a real crisis against the globalists, the Chi-Coms, the EU, the economic war, the private Federal Reserve. We have the head of the World Bank being made to resign today. The president can only do that under a national...
Head of the World Bank being made to resign today. Didn't know that. Very interesting.
National emergency. And there are executive orders in place going back 50-plus years, really before that, to the War Powers Act in 1933, that under any economic emergency, military emergency, or other emergency, particularly the border, the president can do this. It isn't martial law. It isn't a civil emergency. It isn't regular laws being suspended. It's how the executive interfaces with the agencies and the bureaucracies that are mutinous and ignoring Trump. So you notice he's removed hundreds of top people that were working with the deep state. And it's all unfolding very...
Now, I didn't know this, but he says, Alex Jones says he's removed hundreds of individuals working with the deep state. This is incredible. And he's working tremendously with the military to do so. And some people in the Justice Department and some people in the civil departments. This is not something that's just been done a little bit. This has been collecting to a head even before Trump got into his presidency.
Very fast. Now, remember, I just said Saturday in a special report that Trump is preparing to institute a national emergency. And you notice, again, going back months ago, we have pointed that out over and over and over again because we understand what is at stake here. I'm not calling for martial law. The left is spinning that. They're the ones wanting civil emergency. They're the ones wanting impeachment. They're the ones wanting to bankrupt and plunge the economy. They're the ones trying to break our borders. They're the ones having Antifa go out and storm everywhere. Reagan declared a national emergency with the strike at the air traffic controllers. He had to declare it to order them back, essential employees. There's been other emergencies. Obama used one and Bush used one to hold us hostage and give trillions to foreign banks in 2008 and 2009. Paulson, the head of the Treasury, said there'll be martial law, tanks in the street, and blood if you don't back the president's emergency to Congress, if you try to buck it and don't appropriate it. But the president could have still done it on his own. So Trump's doing this not to sell us out to the New World Order, but to stand up against it. And this country is in a major, major crisis. So here it is today, Fox News just minutes ago, talking about his announcement, dealing with the wall and it being steel and not concrete, which is still a wall, that he'll be giving a special speech tomorrow night. It's going to be from the Oval Office, and it's going to be on the country being in a crisis, and the president's going to declare the national emergency tomorrow night. Then on Wednesday, there'll be a messenger from the White House that marches into the new Congress, into the House of Representatives, and announces to the Speaker of the House that the president has declared an emergency. Now, normally they don't cover it when they do this. Every president's done it since Roosevelt. They don't want you knowing about this. This is how they've done all this stuff. This time, when that emissary from the president marches into the Sergeant of Arms of the House of Representatives, it's going to be all over the news, like it's a big, bad, evil thing. So how do I know this? I have sources saying it was imminent. I've been telling you for a year it needs to happen. We're going to pull up the articles, not just from last week, but a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, October 27th, all of it. We're going to get that up on screen for you. Now, here is Fox News, and the president hints at it. He says this country is in an emergency. Here it is, right now.
We'll build a steel barrier, steel. It'll be made out of steel. It'll be less obtrusive, and it'll be stronger. But it'll be less obtrusive, stronger, and we're able to use our great companies to make it by using steel.
We have Fox team coverage. Mike Emanuel on Capitol Hill with reaction from lawmakers. But we begin with John Roberts, who is live at the White House. And that news coming in just a few moments ago, the president to do a primetime address tomorrow night at 9 p.m. from the White House. John.
Dana, good afternoon to you. Yeah, with the Christmas holidays, the New Year's holiday over, and everybody back to work except for federal workers, of course, and people focused, the president wants to make a case for why he needs to get the money to build a border barrier with a primetime address tomorrow night. We do not know if it will be in the Oval Office yet or if it might be one of the other many rooms here at the White House. When you do something from the Oval Office, it tends to have a lot more importance attached to it than if you did it, say, from the map room or somewhere like that. We expect that the president will probably tweet the location coming up here in the next few minutes. But it's clear that he will, tomorrow night in this address at 9 o'clock, make the argument from a national security standpoint that the money is needed for the wall. The president tweeting, quote, "I am pleased to inform you that I will address the nation on the humanitarian and national security crisis, underscore crisis, on our southern border, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern." The president will also travel to...
This is a national emergency. This is what they're not saying, but this is what Alex Jones and others are saying. He will declare tomorrow night, and Wednesday night it will be followed up legally.
To the southern border on Thursday to promote the need for billions of dollars to build a steel barrier along some parts of the border. He is going to be going, we have confirmed through law enforcement sources, to the McAllen, Texas area. Now, what's interesting is there's about 4 miles of steel barricade at the border crossing there between the area south of McAllen and Reynosa in Texas. But that's an area where it's very difficult to build a wall because you've got the Rio Grande meandering its way all the way west to El Paso and all the way east to Brownsville. And you have a lot of private landowners there who do not want to be cut off from the river by a border fence. So it's likely that his plans for a border fence would not be applicable to that area. But of course, there are large swaths of New Mexico, Arizona, and California where it would. In a letter to the Senate Appropriations Committee Chairman Richard Shelby, the president adding some detail to what he wants, saying, quote, "The president requests $5.7 billion for construction of a steel barrier for the southwest border. A physical barrier wall creates an enduring..."
Okay, so that's from Fox News just literally like 10, 12 minutes ago. I'm in the break room, and I see the president say, because this country's in an emergency. Well, I know that's the action he's got to take. I know he's been mulling it. We first told you this over a year ago, another global exclusive. And you watch, and sometimes he changes plans, but 95% chance tomorrow Trump will declare a national emergency. So this is happening. And I did a special report on Saturday saying the president is preparing a national emergency. He is preparing to introduce a national emergency to the public. And then if the globalists try to block securing it and activate their Antifa or other terror groups, there's the Mike Adams article we were talking about from a few months ago. The president is set to deal with that. So Trump set to declare national emergency to stop the deep state January 4th. January 5th article, President Trump is preparing the public for the introduction of national emergency. In fact, we probably should just...
We're going to end it there. This is serious stuff, and it's more than likely going to happen here in January. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's going to happen sometime soon, with or without the news covering it. But the news will cover it and make a big deal of it, and Trump will go on. And he'll get the job done to clean up the deep state. This is Roger Martin for Billings, Montana. Good day.